Welcome in everyone. This is another one where I'm going to be covering the Dark Onslaught dungeon. And yeah, I'm still using the same useless build. Just a bit of info about this. They're all level 60 and they're all minion slots on the right hand side, and then on the left hand side I've just got defense slots. So this is in line with the build guide that I did, and obviously the minion charms are useless. And I've got the sword with the buffs on, which I've done a guide for that as well. And then just to add to that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to equip just a modest amount of hero charms for each class that I am displaying. So this is 100% warrior charms, and this is going to help simulate if you're a newer player and you're following the build guide and you're in progress with your build. So you've got a few hero charms and you're starting to take the direction of moving towards one class now. And then onto the first floor, it is prototype. Now I normally always use poison for this guy, but since he is on the first floor, I'm simply taking the Knight's Gauntlet, the level 60 weapon, and a couple of useless heroes. I'm taking Bayani for expose, which does help, and even if he's lower level, he has a good chance of landing that expose. So yeah, it's quite useful. I don't know if I'm pushing by saying maybe about level 30, level 35, that expose will work there. But yeah, the chance of him exposing is actually quite high, even if he is lower level. So if you do have him, try him out. I wouldn't recommend rushing to level him up because he's pretty much useless outside of that. But for his utility to get the expose up on a single target, the chance is pretty good with this hero. And yeah, the strategy for the first floor is basically just use your weapon. It's got the demons in the back which have the cleanse, which cleanse the expose, but then Bayani charge is pretty quick, so you can get the expose back up and then carry on dealing your damage. Wei Feng does do quite a lot of damage to a single golem target, but again, its usefulness is limited because it only hits one target. So yeah, I don't recommend leveling him up, but if you do have him leveled up, yeah, it's a good pick. He can deal quite heavy damage, but yeah, you could use any heroes for this really, and it'd work just as well. It just might take you a little bit longer with those cleanse demons in the back. And then on floor 2 we've got Ajax again. So I thought, instead of just using Millicent like I normally do, I thought I'd show you a slightly alternative route that you can do. So I'm taking the Maniacal Gauntlet, and I'm taking Lukin, and another random hero, can be anyone, don't really matter. And basically the premise is exactly the same. If you have the Hunter Speed Gauntlet, Lukin will charge in 3 moves and he has a chance to stun on his base power. The only thing is he deals a little bit more damage than Millicent on the base power, so you've got to be careful. Make sure that you don't accidentally finish this guy off before you get the stun off on him. So yeah, you see, you did quite a lot of damage there, whereas Millicent, she'll only do a little sliver of damage with her base power. But yeah, and that is all there is to it really. Once you do get into the back, end the turn with a hero base power or a rage power, and you are away. It is simple as that for this one. And now I know what you're thinking. This is a warrior guide and I'm using warrior charms, but I haven't used any warrior heroes yet. So we've got Krella on floor 3, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Irmas for this. I mean, this floor couldn't really be much more straightforward, but there are a couple of things that you need to take into account. Like, if your Irmas can't one-shot this boss, and it's sort of higher up, like on the 4th or the 5th floor, you do need to take a way to gain rage so that you can heal up with Irmas rage, and the Dark Gauntlet is terrible for rage. I mean, you could just go in there and start punching, and maybe be able to rage by like the 2nd turn or something like that. But yeah, taking a good way to rage is gonna help a lot, so I would recommend Critter or Brutus to go alongside Irmas for this. But yeah, if you've got enough hero charms, if you've got enough warrior charms, he will just one-shot this boss and it's over like that. And then on the 4th floor it is Freki, and for this one I've got the Valiant Gauntlet, and I'm taking Lance and Logan. The reason I'm taking Lance is because of the Dizzy Demons. If you remember from the Alchemist one, I got dizzied on this floor, so yeah, you don't want to be messing about with these Dizzy Demons. You need a way to try and take them out as quickly and efficiently as you can. And Lance, boosted with a few hero charms, is definitely one way to do that. And all you do is you start punching and then use the hero base powers when they are ready. The Valiant Gauntlet will gain rage when you use hero base powers, and it speeds up the warriors as well. It's not as efficient or as fast as the Maverick Gauntlet, which will be the main gauntlet you're using if you're using warriors. But the Valiant Gauntlet, it is still very good, and because it speeds up the warriors as well. Lance and Logan will both charge in 4 moves with this gauntlet. And yeah, as long as you get weakened from Logan, and as long as you keep using Lance base power to keep the demons down, Logan rage power should be strong enough to clear out the vampires in the back. And yeah, it's pretty simple, this one really. You've got protect from the weapon, you've got weaken from Logan, so you're not really in any danger at any point. And if you do take heavy damage, even despite all this, you can just rage Lance if you want. So yeah, you're going to be absolutely fine. And then on floor 5 we have got Sister Nona. Now, I don't think that Geber is best suited to this floor. In fact, when I did the no hero charms run, when I did the original videos with no hero charms whatsoever, when Sister Nona turned up on floor 5, I used Brutus and Geber together for that one, and the strategy is to just keep using their base powers to stack up the regen and keep piling on the acid to kind of clear out the mobs in the front, and it works really well as well, and that's without any hero champs whatsoever. But this time I have got Garen and I have got Ericsson. Now, the reason I've taken Garen is because with this small amount of hero champs, it's only 100%. The rage on it's going to hit the back row. It's not going to hit the back row very hard because Garen's rage is distributed. You're only going to see big numbers when you get into the back really and you try that rage out when she's singled out and she's on her own. But yeah, so what I end up doing is, because I've got the Maverick Gauntlet, I can gain rage pretty quickly as it is. So what I ended up doing was using Ericsson rage because it's not distributed. The freeze is an added bonus at level 62. It's not going to land all the time. It's not worth relying on, but it seemed to work pretty well in this run. But because the rage is not distributed, it's dealing decent numbers all across the board. And then once I do get into the back row, I can unleash Garen on her, and it makes this fight pretty short. When you do have a class, when you have a dedicated class, when you've got the charms in your mythic armor, I do think it's worth leveling up the key heroes for that class before you do anything else. But as you start to progress the DOD every day, there are certain heroes where they just work, and it don't matter if they are in your class or not, or if they're off class, they just work. So yeah, it's worth leveling up some of those utility heroes as well on the side. And this is my guide to the Dark Onslaught dungeon. I have been James B09. Good luck out there.